today we're going to talk about freedom. And this is what the Christian life provides for those who believe is freedom. But freedom from what? Paul tells us in Galatians 5:1, for freedom Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery. You can see here that this isn't being like trapped into slavery. This isn't being captured and dragged into slavery. This is submitting again to slavery, because we need to understand an important thing, that in the course of the Bible, the type of slavery that we're used to thinking about in the West, with the awful things that were done, here in America and throughout the New World, really, the idea of like chattel slavery, of like, forcefully keeping some people under, atrocious settings and things like that. This wasn't the slavery that was going on in the Bible. In the Bible, people submitted themselves to slavery because of the either circumstances, for a wide range of reasons, but they would sell themselves into slavery and become duty bound. Now, of course, the Bible actually sets up provisions for freeing people from this, but then again, even allowing them to choose to stay in it. But what Paul's saying here is that for freedom, Christ set us free. We're to be set free. We're to be free. We're to live in freedom, to stand firm in freedom, and not go back again. Again, we already submitted ourselves once to the slavery. We're not to do it again. And so we see this in Romans, his letter to Romans. Paul said, what shall we say then? Are we to continue in sin that grace may abound? By no means. How can we who died to sin still live in it? Like, wait a minute, what's this got to do with anything? Well, a couple verses later, we know that our old self was crucified with him in order that the body of sin might be brought to nothing, that we may no longer be enslaved to sin. For the one who has died has been set free from sin. We see here that it was sin that we submitted ourselves to slavery in the first place. We had submitted to serve our own needs, to our selfishness, our evil, wicked desires inside of us, our vanity, our lust, our greed, our pride, all these things we submitted ourselves to live in sin, to be slaves to it, to follow the sin's desires, to obey the sin's desires. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to be free. And we were set free by the crucifixion, is what this says right here. We were set free so that way we would not be slaves anymore. And so what does that even look like? Because, we have our sinful nature that's in us, that's calling us, or what we call our flesh is calling us to sin, is leading us that way. Well, the thing is, we want to live in freedom, and our body wants us to live in sin, and that's battle is going to be going on as long as you remain, as long on earth, as long as you live. That battle will be going on in some form or another. And so our goal is to embrace the freedom, to understand that we have died to the sin, that we aren't trapped by it anymore, and we can choose to live in freedom. We have the freedom to be bold and to love and to do good things and not worry about any of those things violating the law. That's what kind of freedom we're talking about. Freedom to do the right thing, to choose to do the right thing, and to follow through and not be worried about what we might accidentally do, but to embrace the good and to do the good. And Jesus even told us Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. Again, that's that same kind of slave who chooses to go into the slavery, chooses to be in there. The slave does not remain in the house forever. That's super important. The son remains forever. So if the son sets you free, you will be free indeed. You are set free. If you are a Christian, you have been set free. So you want to be free. You want to do that. You're going to be fighting this all your life. Embrace the freedom that Christ is offering you. Don't give up. Don't leave it. But be patient with yourself, because you're going to make mistakes. That's okay. All right? You have been set free. You don't belong to that master anymore. You don't have to worry about those punishments that come from there. But you want to live in the freedom. Embrace it, walk in it, be bold, do the right thing, do what you know is good. That is why Christ set you free, because you are free indeed. And the world will know you because of your love for Him and your love for others.